Hello, everyone, and welcome to Edge Pro. My name is Patty Warren, and I'm going to be the host of today's webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about our frame dashboard in Edge Pro. If I come to my optical overview, you can see I have a dashboard right here for my frames. On this page, you're able to see how many frames you sold last year compared to how many frames you sold this year and how many frames that you were down. You can see we're down by 34 frames. You can also see your average frame sale. Last year, it was $137. This year, $128. So our patients are spending about $9.27 less on frames this year than they did last year. When we want to kind of understand our frame business a little more, I always say kind of put the pen to the paper or kind of multiply the numbers out. If our patients are spending $9.27 less on frames and they purchased 1,096 frames, that's $10,000 in missed revenue just by us, having that average frame sale to drop. You can also see that we had 34 less patients spend $128. So if I kind of multiply those two numbers together, that's another $4,300. So in these two categories, you can see where I've got $14,000 worth of missed revenue. Now, if you want to know why our average frame sale is dropped, the two boxes down here are going to be our two drivers of the prices that our patients are going to pay for a frame. One is going to be patients' own frames. And this is simply where they purchased lenses and they didn't get a new frame. So you can see we've had 334 patients so far in my date range not get a new frame. They just put lenses into their old one. Now, anytime they're purchasing a frame, that's going to go towards our average frame sale. And if you think about it, I've got 334 patients. I've got about 20 weeks in my date range up there. If I divide those two numbers, that's about 16 frames or 16 patients per week not purchasing a new frame. So it's a huge opportunity. Now, I do tell everyone it'll never be zero. We're always going to have patients that want to use their own frame, but 16 per week, may be a little high. So anytime we can reduce this, they're going to purchase a frame. So it's going to help increase our average frame sale. And it's also just going to make up for this difference in frames that they did not purchase. Now, $0 frames are the same way, only a $0 frame is where they purchased a frame, they just got it at no charge. The primary reason to be able to get these $0 frames is going to be where a patient purchased a frame, it just happened to be covered by the plan. But you can also have, warranties in here. Anytime we have a patient that has a warranty for a frame, sometimes we can capture that right inside here. If you're doing any type of a buy one, get one or a BOGO, you can have patients that would get a free frame that way also. But primarily it's going to be that they got a frame, it was just covered by the plan. So anytime we want to kind of dive deeper into our frame opportunities, we're going to click on our buy plan button right here. Now, when I click on my buy plan button, we can still see that we have 1,096 frames that were sold. We can see that 356 of those were private pay patients. So that means, 32% of the time you sold a frame, a private pay patient got it. We can see that 30% of the time a VSP, 21 for Davis, 12 for IMED, it's just stacking up our plans. Now, when we look at our average frame sale, you can even see that too. We can see that we've got $128 is the average, but look, private pay patients spend $181. Naturally, our private pay patients are going to spend a little more. They don't have an allowance, so the average patient private pay is going to be a little higher. Our IMED patients are spending $126, VSP $110, Davis Vision $73. So you can see the spending habits of your patients based off of the plans. Now, our opportunities still going to be the same category. It's going to be our patients' own frames and our $0 frames. So we can see that we had 221 private pay patients use their own frame. So if we kind of do that math again, we've got 221 divided by 20 weeks. We can see that we've got about 11 patients per week using their own frame. If you're open 5 days a week, that's around 2 per day when you think about it. So if you can reduce this number, you can help increase that overall revenue and increase that average frame sale. Now, I do tell everyone we're always going to have a patient's own frame. It's never going to be zero. But let's say we had 20 less patients with private pay use their own frame. If on average they're spending $181, and I do the math, that's $3,600 in revenue just by reducing our private pay patients' own frames by 20. We have 56 VSP patients that use their own frame. If we could reduce this by 10, you can see on average they're paying $110. So there's $1,100 in revenue. So ideas you can see by making small changes can make a big difference in your revenue. And the same exact concept is going to be right here with our $0 frame sales. Now we can see Davis Vision is kind of our highest. And again, this is never going to be zero. We're usually always going to have some. But if we could have, let's say 10 less Davis Vision patients, get the covered frame, they choose a frame that's over and above the allowances. If on average they're spending $73, there's $730 in revenue. Same concept with VSP. Again, if we reduce this by about 10, we can increase our revenue by about $1,100. So the buy plan button here helps you uncover those opportunities. It's a way how you can make small changes to help increase that overall revenue and the overall frame sale. Now, we do have a buy staff button on here also, and the buy staff button just helps us uncover, do any of our staff members, need some training? Let's kind of take a look at Julian here. We can see that he sold 292 frames. Julian, on average, his patients are spending about $113. Julian had 58 of the patient's own frames and 121 of the $0 frames. So let's just pretend, let's say Julian had, 200 of these 334 patients' own frames. I believe we'd want to have a conversation with Julian just to kind of see, what are you telling the patients when they ask you if they want to use their own frames? Are we just saying, if the patient says, I want to use my own frame, or we're just saying, sure, not a problem? Or are we having that conversation and taking it to the next level that might be, it's not a problem to use your own frame. Let me evaluate that frame. Let's make sure it can take new lenses. We would hate for your frame to break and you have to start all over again and purchase new frames and new lenses. So that's what we mean kind of by training within our staff. If anybody's just higher in one particular category, we may just need to have a conversation with them, do a little training with them on the things that they're saying based off of the metrics. And really, same exact concept for the $0 frames. We'll kind of pretend and say that, he had, 300 of these 425. We would want to talk to Julian again and say, okay, what are you saying to the patients? Why do you have so many of our $0 frame sales? It could be that they're simply saying, you have $150 allowance. And our patients are saying, great, where's the $150 frames? If we just change the way we're talking to the patients, we can have them move out of those categories. It could be something as simple as, you've really got a great plan. You have, you can choose anything that you would like in the store, and I can deduct what, your plan will cover. We said the same thing, I kind of call it colored at a different color. So sometimes just the way we have a conversation with our patients can reduce these two categories. And again, anytime we're reducing these two categories, we're increasing that overall frame sale, and it's increasing that overall revenue. So when I come back over here to our main stats page, we can see this is where we started out. We were looking that we had sold 34 less frames, and our patients on average were spending $9.27 less. So anytime you want to make changes in these two categories, it's going to be the two KPIs right down here, the two drivers that are going to make it so we can increase these things. Another thing that we have on this page is going to be the top 10 sellers. Now, you also have a link right here to view all of the frames that are sold. So on this page, at a quick glance, we can see, Davis Vision and Affordables are kind of our top two frames. Pro Design LaFont is just kind of stacking up our most popular frame sales. And you can click on the View All Frames, and it will take you over to the Practice Breakout so that you can see all of the frames that you sold also. Now, we'll have another video on the practice breakout here to kind of go into it in a little bit more details. Today, we were just talking about our main dashboard for our frames. It's located right here in our optical overview. You can see the frames dashboard right here. Hope this was helpful, and everyone have a great day. Thank you.